dude, even myself at this stage of my life, I flew here on my jet. I still took a long time for me to adjust the beliefs to allow myself to change the way I showed up in the world. And I would say I still work on different aspects of that, right? And I think that it doesn't matter if you're starting with nothing. As you mentioned, like you got to do the work. And as it pertains to evaluating your self-worth, I just think most people index way too low.
Yep.
So let's just encourage everybody, just start a little higher.
Yeah.
Like your hour's not worth $10. If you have a business, how about we just set the default at $50 an hour? I don't care what you're making or you're not making anything, but let's just pretend your hour's worth 50 and act that way. So you don't say yes to everything. You don't drive 3 hours to pick something up that's worth $20. Like, you know what I mean? Like the waste when I work with clients as a coach, the stuff, and these are sometimes very successful people, but they waste so many hours in a week, and then they complain they don't have time to go to the gym, to be with their kids, or to have a rich relationship with friends, or be a great partner. I go, well, how about you don't drive 3 hours to pick up, triathlon? Like I have a friend, got a new bike. He drove 3 hours each way to the border in Canada to save himself $400. Okay, this is a guy that's a business owner. Like, I mean, I'm the lighthouse, not the tugboat. So I'm like, I'm just going to live my life, write a book, express my thoughts, and let them figure out if they want to be inspired by it or not. And that's fine.
Sure.
But I don't go around trying to tell people like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. That's not my space. But I just think everybody should increase the perceived self-worth by 2x maybe.
Okay, at least.
Yeah, well, think about it. It's like if you want to grow your business, let's say not pessimistically, but like people would be happy with probably 25% annual growth.
Yeah.
Okay, so 25% growth next year. Here's what I know. Let's just use this simple math.
Okay.
25% of stuff you do today in your week, you can't do. Just take that. That's a correlation. If you want to grow 50%, 50% of what you do.
Meaning you have to delegate that out. You've got to find ways to get
how
it
you
done
do that,
without...
I'll let you figure. But yes, for sure. Delegate, hire people, automate it. There's just a bunch of different ways, right? Decide to stop doing it. How many times have you had a product or service where you're like, I've never actually ran the numbers to realize I don't make any money doing this, and it takes up 40% of my calendar, right? Like, where are my gross margins generated? You have a bunch of products, you run the numbers, you look at all the SKUs, and you go, wow, that's fascinating. 10% attribute 90% of my gross margins. Why are we carrying all this other stuff? So I just think it's just an interesting mental model to consider that if I want to grow 100% of what I do this year in my week, next year I can't do any of it.
Wow.
What would need to change? What beliefs would I need to believe? What resources would I have to collect, or what would I have to feel about my own personal worth around that?
Wow.
It's interesting, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So what do you do? I mean, on a day-to-day basis, week to week, month to month, is there how do you set up your life to do all this? Are there planning seasons where you plan?
100%. Yeah. I mean, the old adage, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Like if anybody like spends time with me, they'll be like, wow, this guy's super intentional about what he does. Right. And I think it's just because of where I came from, and I felt like I got a second chance and I just didn't want to waste it. So I would say the two big areas is my calendar for the week. So I call it the perfect week. I essentially, a long time ago, decided that I'm going to write down all the things. I think oftentimes, I know I used to be like, I don't have enough time for all this stuff, but I never actually like looked at it. So now what I do is I teach this framework, perfect week. I think it's chapter 7 of the book. Okay. You write down all the ingredients that would create a perfect week. Okay. Right? What would be on your list, Brandon? Things that every week you want to do.
Perfect week.
Yeah.
Spend time with the boys, playing football, a little bit of hunting. Yeah. Definitely working out. Yeah. Spend quality time with the wife. Yeah.
Get some work done. Do something fulfilling.
Definitely get some work done. Yep. Yeah.
Create some content, whatever. So what I do is I always tell people, write it all down. Okay. And give yourself permission to dream a little bit. Put yourself first. Like some people feel guilty putting time hunting. Like literally, this. Some people would be like, I couldn't write that on my week, every week. Yeah, I'm saying every week. You write them all down, and then you look at the calendar. It's 7 days.
You do this on Sunday night, or does it matter?
So what happens is I created the pattern, and then it gets filled. Okay. So I review my week on Sunday night for sure, and the night before. But I would say 90% of my week is pretty well baked. Okay. There's not a lot of movement. Okay. I schedule kind of like me and my assistant sit down, and we always do like on the weekly basis, we do a 6-week scan. And then on a daily basis, we review the next 7 days, and it kind of moves like that. again, I live a different life than most entrepreneurs, but essentially what I've done is I created a template, and it changes. Like I literally changed it 6 months ago because there was like different priorities and things, seasons, things coming in and out. But now once I have that, then I know if I just honor my calendar, if it's, Sunday to Sunday, like I'm going to, finish the week and go like, wow, that felt good. I felt like I honored my creator. I felt like I was useful. So that's the week basis. But even more important to that, I do the annual one. So one of the chapters of the book is called the preloaded year. And it's this really cool template I give people. It's literally a 1-page document that's got all the months on each day in it. I don't know. I should actually remember the page, but it's in there. Yeah. Preloaded year. But I show you a screenshot of it.
Yep.
But I pull it out on my iPad. So my wife do this in December. So I think we got it scheduled December 3rd.
Okay.
We're going to we do a couples retreat every quarter.
All right.
But the last one of the year is to plan the next year. And what we do is we pull out this year's preloaded year, and it's a 1-page document that's got each month, but it's got every day. And on that, there's like a legend. I'm French, so like it's essentially
legend,
legend. Okay, cool. So it's visually with colors, I can see how much time did I work, like big rocks, right, or family times, or boys trips like snowboarding, hunting for you, like.
Yep.
So it's all there, and then we look at it and we go like. We kind of just take a little marker on the iPad and we say like, would that be a redo? And we literally use the end of the year to reflect on the previous year. Like this year, for example, we already had this conversation. We went home back east for 2 weeks because we decided back in the day, every year we're going to go home for 2 weeks.
Okay.
When we went back this year, it just didn't feel the same. Did you grow up here?
Salt Lake, so pretty much, just north.
But sometimes like the experience you have, and then you go back and you try to re-experience it, and it doesn't feel the same. This time it didn't feel the same, and we kind of said, you know what? Every 2 years feels about right.
Okay,
that's all we did. So we adjust. So going into next year, that 2-week summer slot's open. So now we get to look at other stuff we want to do and put some like the Lake Powell houseboat. That looks like fun.
Yeah.
So
have you done that yet?
No, but all my friends in Utah seem to do it all the time. Yeah. So it's like
that might be a new permanent one. I would just tell you.
Exactly. So I told her, I said, like, we've got our friends. Let's 3 families. We want to invest in our kids' relationships. We like the way they parent, and we'll just put them together. Let's get a houseboat. So it's cool because if you have this intentionality and the rhythm in your year, it doesn't take many years for you to actually like wake up one day and go like, this is pretty awesome. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like my year, because I put in the effort and the work and the intentionality, and I work my butt off when I work, and when I don't, I don't. Like that's the other thing. When I work, I'm not busy. I'm very effective.
Okay.
Right. Like I literally landed an hour ago. I'm here for this. I got another podcast, go back to the airport, fly to Canada, put my kids to bed.
Cool.
Okay. So like but when I'm off, I'm off. Like when I go downhill mountain biking with my buddies and we're just fooling around at the lodge, it's like zero. There's no work. There's no email. Yes. I just like.
You're present.
That's
because you plan
word.
And you create your life. You don't react to life. You're creating your life is what you're saying. It sounds like.
I would argue I'm allergic to the reaction. I think, Sam, does that make sense? And I'd never thought of it, but that explains how I feel. Because I think some people, when they're with me and they see things, they're like, oh, geez, that really bugged Dan. It's just because I don't want to be off. I don't want things that could have been anticipated that weren't to stop me from being present. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's awesome
because I cherish it so much because I know that's actually the only thing we got, right? It's our energy. Like money is there to buy. Money is just a battery, right? It's like a store of energy. It's like you pay me and then I put it into a battery and I get to use it later for other stuff. But the thing that I have that's unique to me that I give to other people, yes, it's your time, but more importantly, because that time, if I was here and I wasn't talking, you'd be like, Dan's boring AF. But because I'm here, I want to be present. I want to bring my energy. And I think that's like why I'm so intentional about how I do the other stuff is so that, when I'm with my boys, I want to be putting them to bed. That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where did you learn all of this? I mean, that you're doing, did you have mentors? Did you kind of learn it through?
All the above.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I spend probably $500,000 a year on coaching just personally.
You do?
My private coach, I pay $350 a year for a 45-minute call.
Where did you find him?
His name's Ed Milet. He's like kind of a big dog.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, most people do. So, I mean, there's pretty much like Ed, Tony, and a handful of other
Ed
guys.
Milet was in the same company I was in years ago in Primerica.
Yeah,
he's with
for
WFG
sure.
now, but yeah. Anyway,
so I would even put Patrick Bet-David if you're in that space. So PBD. Big fan of his work. I'll probably coach with him at some point. I don't even know if he takes clients, but hopefully he'll take my money.
Yeah.
Because like that's like what I'm always trying to do is like these micro improvements, right? And so like when I started sharing my story more and I was writing the book, I wanted to find people that I think are the best of the best.
Okay.
And but I mean I have my Ironman coach, I have a family coach, we have a parent coach, this guy Sean. I mean it's just I'm all about speed. I don't want to pay the stupid tax, right? So it's like I'd rather, just like in business, like I'm going to hire a CPA to make sure I don't go to jail for tax problems. That's faster than trying to figure out taxes on your own.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hire a business coach to help me understand rhythms and, reports and scorecards, right? Because I'd rather learn from somebody else than have to like almost go bankrupt for me to finally figure this stuff out.